From all the way up here, I can see something blue just sitting on the surface. It's the end of February, and I cannot believe how beautiful out it is today. It feels like forever since we've been to the beach, but it's really only been a few weeks. There's just enough shoreline exposed over there for us to do some digging and some picking, but I saw that blue piece, and I want to go see right now if I can find it. Now, I put a stick somewhere up here. I think I can see it right there. I put that stick there so that I would know where to look. Well, that branch definitely helped me because I was able to identify that piece of blue. But everything that glitters isn't always gold. It's extremely soft. Well, I'm going to keep digging though. Maybe there's a real piece of blue in here somewhere. Check it out, everybody. You can see this little pattern right over here, and this is from the willow pattern, these little checkers. This piece is a little bit older. I'd have to put it in the 1800s because you can see the cobalt oxide has bled out excessively from it as opposed to something that's made by a machine. And look right here, look at this. Check out this little fold right over here. It's almost like this was a piece of bonfire glass. It's an absolutely perfectly aged piece, minus this little spot right over here. You know, there's not a lot of beach to look through, but this is a good sign. Check it out, it's nice on a 20th century lip, and it just disappeared. Okay, look at that. That was just absolutely perfect because it kind of shows us every time that the waves cycle that it changes the position of the glass. And that's why it was so hard for me to find that blue piece. But I'm going to pick this up now before it disappears. You can see it's a really nicely aged 20th century lip. Hey everybody, it's really starting to rain and I'm getting a little bit colder, so I'm going to put my knee pads on and I'm going to put a hat on, and then we're going to get right back to digging these piles. Hear that, everybody? The rock just fell right behind us. Yeah! Check this one out! Yeah! Woo! Well, everybody, I'm just giddy right now. I just found this tiny little marble right over here. You can see, here, I'll try and hold it up a little closer so everybody can see it. It's a tiny little cat's eye. It's got a little bit of yellow and blue in it, and I think there's a tiny little bit of a white streak. I know a piece like this has been in the ocean for a long time because I've talked about before about how the smallest marbles, the little itty bitties that they made, were down to 12 millimeters. So this one here being about 7 means it's probably lost about 40% of its complete volume since it went into the ocean. This is a really fun find. So you know what I'm going to do, everybody? I'm going to take this beautiful little marble right over here, and after I go home, I'm going to take everybody's names and I'm going to put it into a random number generator, and I'm going to give this marble away to somebody who commented on any of my videos since my last giveaway. I got something I'm going to share with you. Okay. Well, it's not as special as the last thing that I found, but I found this little piece right over here, and it's got some distinguishable markings to it. So I'm going to share it with everybody. You can see right over here how it comes up. So this would have been the bottom of a thicker bottle, like an early bottle that was made clear. I'd have to say around like before 1930. It's kind of, well, this little piece right over here would have been the ridge where the wall of the bottle would have went straight up. And then this would have been the bottom right over here. At first, when I looked at this, I thought it actually might be a handle, but you can absolutely see that it's not pronounced where it comes up over here. It actually comes up just a little bit subtly. So it's not a handle, but it's the bottom of a bottle. It's still a really neat find. It's over an inch tall. If I go like this, it almost looks like it's a lowercase L. It's almost in the exact same spot. Hey everybody, this is great. I can't believe I just found this piece. You know, it almost looks like this one here is from the same time period as that clear bottle that I just found. I just had to look over there because there's a lot of birds that are spying on me and I don't want to get pooped on. So you can see right over here, it's a regular old piece of amber brown, and then I look a little bit closer and you can see there's a V and an E. This is absolutely the bottom of an old Javex bottle that I was sharing with everybody just a few videos ago. This is absolutely a very common pattern for me to find out my way because every household would have been using some sort of a bleach to clean their clothes around 100 years ago. Okay, everybody, I'm going to be moving on to another pile now. I've pretty much dug out all that I can find, so hopefully there's going to be something else cool waiting because there's only a few piles for me to dig, and it's been so long, but I'm going to dig every little inch until the beach kicks me out. a nice piece, everybody. I'm gonna come share it with you. Okay, this is a pretty cool piece. It's not as bright as all of the other pieces that I share with you, but you can see, I want you to see this. Look at all of these air bubbles right over here. Now this is what's known as antique seating. When you see little air bubbles in glass like this, there's almost a certainty that it was made in the 1800s or earlier, because you're typically not going to see bubbles in automation glass such as this over here unless it was made in China and then sold at a dollar store, because they really don't care about quality. So it's really great if you're on the beach and you find pieces that have air bubbles in it. That tells you that the sea glass you're finding precedes the 20th century. Yeah, I got another one. Look at this right over here. It's a beautiful aqua sea foam. It's got some pattern. What am I doing talking to myself all the way over there when I've got everybody watching me on this camera? So this piece right over here is such a stellar find. It's another historical piece. You can see, oh, it's really hard to tell. So here we go, everybody. Now I've got it in a better focus. So this right over here is the top of an old food preservation or canning jar. A lot of people would have to can and preserve all of their produce that they harvested during the fall. So they would use these mason jars, these ball mason jars and food preservation jars. They're very common sometimes in areas where people were preserving food. You can find some beautiful colors and abundance of this aqua seafoam. I know this one's from the 1800s because it's got this little seating, this little air bubble that I was just talking about not too long ago, right up here in the top. It's kind of neat. You can see. Let's see if I can get it the absolute way it would have been. So this is how it would have been. This would have been going out this way and then coming down, and then it would have went all the way around over here as well. Oh, look at that. It's a neat little piece here, nice little aqua. Oh yeah, look at that one. I guess that's how it goes, everybody. I was out there picking, I found this aqua right over here, and then I found this blue, and then I looked over and the camera had flipped down. So this piece right over here is really, really cool because it actually has a few letters. I'm trying to get them right there. You can see it's the D and the A from Canada. And what's really cool about this is some milk of magnesia bottles were made in the United States and some say made in Canada. So when I find this piece right over here with the DA on it, I absolutely know this is from a Canadian milk of magnesia bottle. I'm gonna do my best and see what we find because the tide's rolling in and I don't know how much we're gonna be able to pick today. You can actually hear it behind me, the tide's roaring. It's coming right up to my toes as I'm lying here, so I better make sure that my tablet doesn't end up in Davy Jones's locker as opposed to just lying flat in the sand. You know you're picking on a Canadian beach when you're finding a hockey puck, eh? Look at this. You can see that it's been in the ocean for a while because all of the grooves on the side that are meant for gripping against a stick have worn away. There's no logo on it, so no. Holy cow. Looks like I almost got washed out. But I really just can't overstate how much I've missed talking to everybody and making these videos. It's been really hard on me the past couple of weeks not being able to get down to the beach and share an adventure. Every day I come here and I check to see if there's any pebbles that we can pick. And this is the first time I've been able to get down in a long time. So I'm really happy we're here. Oh, this one looks interesting. Yeah, this is a piece of an old insulator right over here. Really interesting. And then look at that, holy cow, how many times has this happened to me where I'm sitting there finding something boring and then there's something amazing just sitting right here. Look at this, is this from an insulator? So now that I've got this piece dried off, I can see without a doubt it is not from an insulator. And what it is this is the bottom of an early century soda water bottle made in a beautiful aqua seafoam color. It's got lines on it going on both sides, and what that tells me is that this over here would have been the bottom of a bottle that was made about 120 years ago. Early automation bottles have a really pronounced bottom to them. They almost have like a little kick up that comes right over here. So you can see that this would have been the inside, and then over here, this would have been the bottom of the bottle. I just love this beautiful blue slip, and on the other side, you can see it's got that honeycomb pattern, which is used for catching the adhesive. I never know what I'm gonna find when I'm out here looking at the high tide mark. This is not as beautiful as the piece I found a few weeks ago, but it definitely tells me that there could be something new here because it wasn't here last time. Check this out, everybody. This is a really unique piece of steel that I just found. I had to let it dry off so everybody could see. It's got this little pattern on it over here. It's very different than a lot of the steel that I'm used to seeing on the beach. You know, I think this actually might be from an old trunk that somebody would take on like a train or a steam ocean liner. I've actually pulled a few of them out of the rubbish over the past 13 years, and one of them is in this reddish color. So my guess is it was Colonel Mustard with the lead pipe on the beach next to the seashell. I just got killed again! Oh my God, yeah! Check this out! Whoa! I just found a Cod Stopper! Yeah! I just found a Cod Stopper, everybody. Check this out right over here. So this would have been one of the early marbles. Oh my gosh, I just can't believe it. I have to make sure that this is real. So this right over here is known as a Cod Stopper. This is an early marble. This would have been inside the neck of a bottle, and what happened was the carbonization would push it right up to the top and it would form a seal. Now, children used to break these bottles open and then they would play with the marbles, which actually led to people manufacturing marbles not for drinks. This design was pretty popular. I know it was patented around 1880 until the 1930s, and I believe that I read that there's some countries, I believe Japan, where you can still get a marble inside the neck of a bottle because it's just such a popular thing. This is so great. This is absolutely my favorite find of the day so far. Woo! Man, that was so awesome! Yeah! Oh, here. Look, okay, I found a piece of the willow pattern. Well, I'm still pretty giddy right now. I'm usually not this smiling when I find a piece of willow, but it's just a few seconds later. Here we go. It's a piece of the willow pattern. It's got that checkering on it. And this one over here, the cobalt oxide has bled out of it, but it hasn't bled out as excessively as the last one. This one over here, I'd have to say, is a little bit more modern, but it's before 1930. So let's just say that the first one I found might be about 1880, and then this one over here might be about 1910 to 1930. Just because of the cobalt oxide is still bleeding out, and I'm not going to expect to see that in a modern piece of tableware. You can just see how happy I still am after finding that card marble. It's just bananas. It's been weeks since I've been out here, and I am so happy that we are here right now. I'm so happy I get to connect with everybody, because I know that eventually that Arctic ice is going to come in and we're going to be completely shut out. I'll share a few videos when it does. There's a few winters where the Arctic ice doesn't come down the ice flow. It's absolutely one of the most spectacular things that happens on Cape Breton Island. I'm right back in the exact same spot as I just found those other two things. So, oh my God! I'm right back in that spot, and it looks like I'm not going to be here for much longer because these waves don't want me here anymore. So let's keep digging. Yeah, and it just keeps coming. The hits just keep coming, everybody. Here we go. The hits just keep coming. Look at what I got in my hand right over here. It is a beautiful piece of cobalt blue bonfire glass. And if I hold it right, it almost looks like it's a heart. Because I just love everybody out there who watches and comments and gives me so much love. So I really want to say thank you, everybody, right in the middle of this beachcombing adventure. I can't thank you enough for all of the love that you give me. Finding pieces of cobalt blue bonfire on the beach almost puts this in a period. Sorry guys, the waves are right behind me. I think I'm about to get soaked again. So I'm gonna stop talking about this piece of bonfire. I'm gonna get out there and do some more picking because the clock is ticking up. There you go. Okay, everybody, let's make this happen. Nice little shell piece right over here. It's kind of like a purpley pink. Oh, this looks like it's a piece of bone. Not bone. No, this is a stem. It's a stem. Okay, guys. Here we go. I got my next find here. I got my next thing I'm going to share with everybody. And this is a stem from an old clay pipe. It's kind of neat. You can see how it's larger on this side as opposed to over here. So this is where it would have affixed to the bowl. You can see the hole is a little bit smaller. So that tells me that this is an 1800s or 1900s pipes. The ones that are earlier, usually you'll see a larger, looser hole. Gotta make sure that ocean doesn't get me. But it's kind of wild that I'm finding quite a few little pieces like that cod stopper. It really fits into the same period as this stem right over here. So being that I haven't been on the beach for a few weeks, it looks like things have turned over. It's almost like a really, really high pile. So these finds over here, there's a good chance that they've been in the ocean for over 100 years. And now they're just starting to surface with this surge from the north that's been taking place over the past few weeks. Okay, everybody, the tide is really pushing in. So I'm gonna go walk the shoreline where all the rocks are getting tumbled at that high tide mark. It's crazy, it's actually sunny out. It's actually sunny out right now, everybody. I'm still gonna keep my hat on. Yeah! Woo! Oh! Yeah, guys! Okay, I'm back in the shade again. Yeah, I wanna go back in the sun where it's warmer, but check it out, everybody. It's another frosty sea marble. It's got some weird coloring to it that I'm not really used to seeing. It's yellow, it's red, and it's green. This one's a little bit larger though. I'd have to say it's about 3/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit larger, maybe 7/16. I don't share enough, I don't share enough common colors, so I'm gonna come share this one right over here. It's a really well-aged piece of green. I wouldn't say it's a Kelly green though, I'd say it's more of like a darker green, like a forest green. And you can see it's the bottom of a bottle. This would have been the wall, this would have been the base over here. Now it's very flat and it's not pronounced over here. So it tells me that this is like a post-automation find. I'd have to imagine that it's like 1940s to 1960s. So it's not as old as some of the stuff we found today, but it's just a beautifully aged piece of green. I absolutely spend hours and hours picking common and boring colors that I think that people don't want to see. So you guys let me know in the comments, do you actually want to see some of these less exciting finds, or are you happy with the format right now? Because I'm really just doing my best to share my treasures with you. And I spend so much time picking these common colors, but I just think to myself, if I was watching a sea glass video, I wouldn't want to see greens and browns. I just want to see the exciting stuff. I want to see the rare treasures that people recover. Okay, everybody, I'm gonna move the camera and we're gonna go pick a new pile, but I had a really good time in this one. It's almost hard for me to leave, but some of the rocks are just getting too big for me to push up. So we're gonna move somewhere where they're a little bit smaller now. Oh, I see it right here. Yeah! Woo-hoo-hoo! Look at this piece, everybody. It's purple. Look at this piece, everybody. It is purple. So this is a piece of the manganese glass. It's absolutely amazing. Oh my goodness. So we can see right over here that this is the bottom of a bottle, and then we've got a piece of the wall right over here, and it's got this amazing ridging on it right over here. I'd have to put a piece like this at about 1900. Oops, sorry about that. It's knocking my tablet over. It's a little bit windy. And what's amazing is I'm pretty sure I have some bottles in my collection that are very similar to this find right over here. This probably would have been an early 20th century condiment table bottle, and I'll put it at about 1900 to 1910. So this is an absolutely stellar piece, and I'm so glad that it's in my hand and I get to share it with everybody right now as the waves are coming in and soaking my feet. I'm using a rock to move the top pile off, and then once I get off the top pile of these larger rocks, there's a lot more smaller stuff with the sea glass in it, like this over here. Yeah! Here's my turquoise. I got it, everybody. Here's the turquoise that I was looking for. Check. Oh, oh, it's a little slippery out. Check this one out. Oh my days. So this is unequivocally the piece of an old Hemingway 42 insulator. Now we know it's from an insulator because it's got these little button-like features on the bottom. Now, one thing I can tell you about studying insulators, although I'm no expert, is when you see these little grooves on the bottom, this is more of a later insulator as opposed to the earlier ones. The earlier insulators don't have this little beading on the bottom, and this was actually added to help the water drip away during wet conditions. You know, this piece is so beautiful that I think I'm gonna have to give it away to somebody out there who left a comment on one of my videos in the past few weeks while I wasn't able to get to the shoreline, because it's so beautiful, and I think that your support and love means everything to me. I wanna share this with you. I must look like a dog lifting my leg out here. I thought it was melt glass, but it's just a rock. It's a good thing I just found this piece. Okay, I'm gonna share this one with everybody. It's a good thing I just found this piece right before the ocean kicked up. So here we go. It's another beautiful piece of green. It's a little bit lighter than a lot of the Kelly greens that I find. So this is probably from like an alcohol, like a wine bottle. And you can see right over here, it's got this really unique creasing to it from a bonfire. So there's actually a chance that this was once like a flat piece of glass. And then because the fire makes it nice and soft and malleable, that it kind of folded and creased. So imagine this piece is really, really hot, and then it goes into the ocean, and the pressure of the rocks pounding it back and forth crunch it down and compress it down. And then we see this little creasing right over here, and then I hear the rocks tumbling from the sky right in front of me over here from the cliff. They're falling down. So this piece right over here. And then what's really more amazing about it is that this piece has been almost aged to perfection on this side, but the side where the creasing is, you can see it's completely protected because it's indented inside of the sea glass, almost preserving like a fossil the fact that this was once in a bonfire. And I really just got wet there. The waves are really pushing in, guys. Our time is limited. This is the weirdest piece of sea glass I've ever seen in my life. This is tempered glass right over here, everybody, because you can see how it's shattered on the inside. This would have been a piece of a casing, and the rocks just keep coming down. This would have been a casing from like a window in some sort of a store. And it's kind of amazing because the glass on the inside is actually soft and smooth on the edges. A piece like this is more like modern ignorance, where somebody is discarding illegally into the ocean, as opposed to in the old days where it was an acceptable form of disposal. It tells me that people were still dumping in my beach long after environmental laws came into place, saying that it's a big no-no to dump into the sea, and that the sea does not take care of your garbage. You can see this big rock over here is about to go, and there's already some crumblings at the bottom. This is what I'm talking about when I say that the shoreline is falling all around me. Oh my gosh, everyone, check out this rare artifact that I just found on the beach. Look at this weird little character that's embossed on the top of it. Maybe this is centuries old. Who knows? Maybe this piece right over here will help solve the mystery of Oak Island. Well, I'm back home and I'm all warmed up. Before we do the drawing, I wanted to share a little bit more history on a few of the finds by matching them to some bottles in my collection. Well, I figured we should start with this beautiful piece of purple. This is the closest bottle that I had in my collection. Right over here, you can see it's still a little farm fresh. It's got some dirt on it. It's got a little bit of rib pattern on the bottom, but it's a little bit different than ours that we found on the beach. I know that this one here was made after 1892 because it's got the crown seal on it, the crown closure. And then I know it was made before 1913 because it's got that manganese tinge on it. You can see the bottle's the absolute same size when you put it together right over here. It's an absolutely perfect fit. I'm going to match this little piece over here to one of these two insulators. Now you can see by looking at them that this one here has that manganese tinge to it. It's almost an off-color white. So this one, which is a local piece, it's from Dominion, not too far from me, it does not have the little beading around the edges. Now this one over here, which is a recent addition to my collection, the Hemingway 42, and it doesn't glow underneath a black light. I really was hoping it was UV. You can see it does have these little bumps on it right over here, exactly like our find. Next up, I'm going to match this perfect piece of aqua seafoam to this old soda water bottle that I dug out of the ground. You can see right over here that the bottom is extremely pronounced and it really kicks up, just like the find from the beach the other day. It feels like just the other day I was talking about this bottle and this top right over here. So I've got the VE from the Javex, but because this piece right over here is a lot thicker than the bottom right over here, I attribute this to being the bottom of one of these old gallon Javex bottles. Unfortunately, the closest I have to one of those is the top right over here. Okay, everybody, it's going to be time for the giveaways. Now, I'm not just sending a single piece to two different people. I'm actually going to be putting a little bit of a collection of sea glass together because I don't want those rare finds to be traveling alone in the mail. Now this time, we're going to do the drawing a little bit differently. I want to have a zero imprint on the environment. So I've taken everybody's names and I've put them into a document. I labeled them 1 through 53 for all the comments from every single video that I've made. I think there's about 4 videos. And then we're going to take the random number generator and we're going to draw, and I'm going to do it right in front of you right now. Okay, everybody, so here is my laptop. You can see it right over here. On one side, I've got all the comments from every single video over the past couple of weeks, and then over here I've got the random number generator ready. So let's do this. 1, 2, 3. Number 7. So who's number 7 right here? Let's find out. Daisy May, look at that. Thanks for your kind words, Daisy May. Okay, let's do it again. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Number 13. Oh, pays to comment early, I guess. Oh, Jess, hello. Congratulations to my 2 winners, and I really want to thank everybody again for all of the comments and all the kind words that you've said to me. Well, everybody, I think we've picked about as much as the beach is going to let us pick. The water and waves are moving in. I'm only about 10 feet from the cliff. It's got me a little bit nervous, but I wanted to take this time to say thank you to everybody once again for watching my videos. I can't thank you enough for all of your love, your comments, and your positive support. If you like this video, please subscribe because there's plenty more adventures and sea glass education to come, and I always love sharing my finds with my friends from around the world, so make sure you leave a comment so that you don't lose out in the next giveaway. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully we're back out here again real soon. I gotta go dry up. My legs are soaked.